Hello everyone and welcome to Dysconnect. I hope you've all had a great week. Today I am going to speak about perception and how it affects me. Now, perception, to go into a little bit more detail, it's how I view things. Some things may seem far away. Some things may seem closer than they actually are. And this is why I struggle to cross the road. Now, I've mentioned this before, but I don't think I went into too much detail. I have to cross the road at a normal pedestrian crossing. One, it's safer for me. You should be doing that anyway. It's the highway code, isn't it? And it's less awkward. I can't judge how far away or how close a car is, and I am at high risk of getting run over. So I have to be careful how I cross the road. I don't need someone to cross the road with me. I could do that by myself. It's just that it's just safer for me to cross the road that way. And that can be a slight inconvenience when I'm out with friends and out with family. Case in point, I went to see a dance performance with my family. My mum and my brother crossed the road, and I was left behind because I didn't feel comfortable crossing the road when they crossed the road. I waited and walked to the nearest pedestrian crossing and then crossed the road after them. And they were just looking at me like, why didn't you follow? But the truth is, I didn't feel comfortable. The cars were, in my view, were right there, and it didn't feel right. Perception affects the way I play video games. I play first-person shooters, and sometimes first-person shooters involve jumping puzzles as well as shooting enemies. It depends on what kind of game you play. And I find it hard to navigate my way, like jumping around with this character in first person. I find it easier to play games in third person. I haven't tried VR yet, but I have a feeling that's going to be really tough for me. And perception can affect people in a number of ways, even in sports. As much as I like tennis, it's not my go-to sport because I find it hard to measure where the ball's coming, and when I try to return a shot, I miss the ball completely. It's even worse with badminton. You know, you've got the really, really tiny racket. It's narrow, and just to hit the shuttle, you're missing all the time. You know, so I prefer football. I prefer to play football. I prefer to play rugby. I suppose more physical sports are better for me. You know, I do martial arts. It does incorporate judo and jiu-jitsu techniques and even Brazilian jiu-jitsu techniques. And I don't need to use my eyes necessarily in grappling situations. I can literally just feel where my opponent's going and just navigate from there. So that's more comfortable for me. So that's how perception affects me. It can also affect your reading. Now, I have dyslexia on top of my dyspraxia. Specifically, I have major dyspraxia with minor dyslexia. And when I read, the words appear to move around. They move closer and move further away. I have to take my time when I read. And I've already spoke about how I retain information. That's difficult too. So I have to really take my time. And I have to rely on overlays or tinted glasses so that the words appear bolder. I could talk about tinted glasses in another video because that's one of the many things that can help with people who are dyspraxic. There are tests that you can go through where they can check what color is better for you when it comes to reading. They could go through green, yellow, blue, and there's many other things. But in terms of perception, it can just affect everything you do. It affects the way I see my room. For example, I can leave a little bit of mess on the floor, and that little bit of mess can seem like a pile in my eyes. So yes, it's an ongoing issue. It affects the way I even tidy my own room, my own environment, and it's tough. So I have to rely on a routine to help me do certain things. And I could hear a lot of people say, well, that sounds like autism. There are some crossover with autism. I don't want to go into that. I want to speak specifically about dyspraxia, but it's not the same. But there are some crossovers. I'm hoping in the future I could bring in an expert who could explain that a lot more better than I can. It's possible to have dyspraxia and autism. There's some people who have dyspraxia and ADHD. There's some who have dyspraxia and Asperger's. You can have more than one. But it's interesting how there are some things within dyspraxia that can overlay with some aspects of autism. But to get back onto the topic, you have to be very careful in your environment. Try to keep at least your working environment clean and spacious so that you can do what you have to do. If you're not comfortable with it, say so. And ultimately just make sure that you are safe just getting on with life. There's no shame in having to use the pedestrian crossing. If you don't feel comfortable with it, then it's definitely not the right thing to do. I don't like roller coasters. I don't like roller coasters because, again, perception. My equilibrium gets messed up. It looks to me like I'm going to go flying into the ground. It affects me in so many different ways. I think the last time I actually jumped on a roller coaster, I passed out. So it does have an effect on me. But there are people who have dyspraxia who love roller coasters. They're the polar opposite. So dyspraxia affects people differently. Not everyone is the same in terms of what symptoms it's not even symptoms, it's just what they experience with dyspraxia is different. So, don't feel awkward because one person's experience is different from yours or vice versa. We're all unique. Embrace that. So that's all I have time for today. This is probably my longest video. There's so much more I probably would have loved to have said, but I'll look back on this and maybe do a follow-up video. But until next time, take care. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I've got 16 subscribers as of this video, and I just want to thank all of you for supporting me so far. Check out Coffee Brand Coffee. They've got delicious products, hot cocoa, various flavors of coffee, all natural, freshly roasted, and every purchase supports this channel. So until then, take care everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.